The Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
It's the front page news.
It's what's trending now.
It is still unbelievable, that a trip to the grocery store can end up being deadly. And sadly, that was the case Saturday afternoon in Buffalo, New York, when an 18-year-old white supremacist gunman in military gear attacked store shoppers and workers, killing 10 people and wounding 3 others. All of those who died were black. And joining us this morning, we have civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump. He has been retained by the family of the oldest victim of the Buffalo supermarket shooting, 86-year-old Ruth Elizabeth Whitfield. Ben, good morning.
Good morning, Rickey. I have also Garnell Whitfield. I'm up here in Buffalo, and we're just dealing with this tragedy where this white supremacist, specifically, Rickey, intended to kill as many black people as he could. That is what he said on his manifesto. And he went and scouted it, Rickey, and he went in that supermarket and shot everything he saw that was black. There was a white person there. He aimed the gun and got ready to pull the trigger and said, sorry. And, I mean, that just tells you the kind of hatred in this 18-year-old kid's heart. So we got to tell President Biden and the Democrats who lead Congress, when they shot the black people up in Mother Emanuel, you remember the white young supremacist Dylan Roof, they would not pass the anti-black hate crime bill. And now it's Buffalo, New York. We have no excuse, Democrats. Pass this anti-black hate crime bill. You did it last year with the anti-Asian hate crime bill.
Right, Ben.
Now, why can't you do it with us? I mean, this is what Whitfield's legacy should be, that we're going to get some positive change out of this to try to prevent the next young white supremacist.
Mr. Whitfield, I just want to tell you, man, that I am so sorry for the loss of your mother, man, and I know you're going through a lot. I just can't imagine what you're going through, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, now this gunman specifically targeted black people in the community in Buffalo. 11 of the 13 victims were black. What can you tell us about Ms. Whitfield, the security guard, Aaron Salter Jr., and any of the other victims being?
Yeah. I'll let him talk about his mother. I'll talk about some other victims. Yes, sir.
Yes, my mother had just left the nursing home where she sojourned on a daily basis, taking care of our father, who was interned there for the last 8 years. She goes there every day to take care of him and provide care for him. She had just left the nursing home and stopped by the grocery store on the way home to pick up some groceries and encountered this individual.
Wow.
And Rickey, they had been married for 68 years.
Wow. I mean, Ben, we just really lost. We sitting here, we just lost words, and to have him on, everybody on this morning show, heart is broken, sitting up here with tears in our eyes. We feel so terrible. I'm so angry, Ben. I can't even say things.
Rickey, she was an angel. Everything you hear from Garnell and everybody, I mean, she was a blessing to her family, to the community, and for this hatred act to kill this woman of love is just unexplainable, and that's why we gotta get some positive change. How did this 18-year-old white kid get that kind of weaponry? I mean, that was expensive weaponry.
Traced back to the gun laws, and then mixed with watching probably Tucker Carlson on Fox News every single day, and because all of that stuff is connected in the manifesto.
Yeah, and you really touched on something there, Rickey Smiley, because not only is it about holding accountable this act to this young man who committed this hateful act, it's about holding accountable those who curate this hate, who indoctrinate these young white supremacists with all this hate to do these things. I mean, they are radicalizing these young people.
Ben, don't you find it interesting that everybody on all the white TV hosts, when white people go out and kill black people like that, they start talking about mental health?
Yes.
Exactly, Ricky. And that's so problematic because if it was a young black person accused of a crime like this, they call him a monster. They call him a thug, all these things. But when it's a white person, they say, oh, he had a mental issues and so forth. And the fact, Ricky Smiley, that they took him alive. I mean, these young white mass murderers, they always take alive. But when it's an unarmed black man, they shoot first and ask questions later. So, you know, I think about Garnell and his family. He said it so clear to Gayle King and Good Morning America this morning. He said, no, let's don't stray from the main issue. It's white supremacy, and America has to deal with this issue.
Because then when it's a black person, Ben, they dig up their whole history and every criminal record they ever had since they was born and try to make them such a horrible person. And they just let the white people get away with it. This is ridiculous. And the gunman was actually streaming live when he started shooting. I mean, when he started shooting, like the audacity, you know?
And then
What
he
other
had
evidence-
NIGGER at the end.
Come on now.
Marked at the
Painted
end.
on his rifle.
Painted on his rifle.
Wow.
And breaking news, Ricky, we finding out that last year he threatened to apparently go shoot up a school, and they prevented him. So how in the world could this young white 18-year-old get these kind of guns with that on his record? You talked about how they go in our history and try to pull up everything. They need to pull up everything in his history. He's the one who killed people.
So yeah, go ahead.
Well, considering that a year ago he did threaten his high school and they put him away for a day and a half, claiming mental health, and then returned him back to school with no incident. Do you now look at this as a terrorist attack? Is there any evidence that points to this having been planned?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This was planned. He literally came to the black community in Buffalo. He scouted it out the day before. He had the layout to the grocery store. This sick, depraved, racist young white boy planned every aspect of this out. And I don't know how many people he may have colluded with, but it was definitely no accident what he did and where he did it at.
Ben, I have a question for you, if we have time. So this is the biggest act of violence against the black community since, I think, Dylan Roof and the church in South Carolina. What confidence do you have that something like this, on top of that, can help lead to some type of legislation from Washington to address this?
Now, good question, and that is the demand. Garnell and the other victims, we are all going to tell President Biden he's going to visit Buffalo. You know, when President Obama tried to pass the anti-black hate crime bill after the Charleston, South Carolina massacre, the Republicans blocked it. Well, right now, the Democrats have no excuse since we have control. If Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema don't vote against it, you know, we should be able to finally pass this legislation.
If you had to guess between the two, Ben, which one you think that will vote for the bill?
Hey, Ricky, I can't, man, that's like picking the chicken pox or the measles.
Right. Right.
Man.
Right. Ben, Ben, what's next? What's next? Because, because let me tell you, black folks talking about arming themselves, and hell, you arm yourself, that didn't do no good because somebody was shooting at him and he had on body armor. They sell all that stuff at those gun shows and stuff. And you sit up here watching Fox News, listening to Tucker Carlson, and thinking that the whole world is against you and that black people are a threat. And this is how all this stuff is happening.
Yeah, he certainly talked about in that manifesto the race replacement theory that they keep talking about, making all these young white people feel in fear that they will be marginalized. Where black people, we've been marginalized all our life, and we ain't went out and shot up people, so we don't buy that excuse. We got to get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is all these internet websites, all these people who are inspiring hate, who are indoctrinating these young people, these young minds. You know, You think about radicalizing them. We talked about Osama bin Laden, how he radicalized people to commit violent acts based on hate. Well, what's the difference between what these white supremacists are doing, telling them to go out and kill black people? And so we got to get to the root of this matter. We got to hold them accountable. So we plan on investigating all these websites and stuff that this kid visited and suing them, trying to hold them accountable, just like the black woman sued the KKK years ago, Ricky. I mean, we got to go with every arsenal every weapon in our arsenal, because if not, I'm sad to say this may happen again in your community.
Yeah, and here they come talk about our prayers and our thoughts every time. You know, it's a mass murder and marching and doing the same thing. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Something has to change here. And, sir, man, I just want to tell you again, you know, I can't even talk to you with a straight face, with tears in my eyes, Mr. Whitfield. You know, to have your mother life end like that, and the only thing she was doing was just doing some simple grocery shopping, and to end up passing away due to violence, man. If there's anything that we could do for your family, brother, I really sorry for your loss.
Well, we're thankful for your support. We're thankful for this opportunity to get the word out there. And what we, as a family, what we want to do is make sure that we focus on the root of the problem. As Mr. Crump said, it's white supremacy, it's racism, it's bigotry, and we got to call it out. And we're thankful to have you guys help us do that.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hey, Ben, love you, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, I love you too, Frank. God bless you all.